I'm really honored to be able to talk to you all tonight from Chester County Prison, Malachi Dads, and the reason is because this Malachi Dads program started in Angola, where I was the warden for 21 years. I'm Burl Cain. I'm the retired warden from there, and Lennon a schooner, and myself and Moana driving across the prison. He wanted to talk for 4 minutes, for 2 hours, I think he told me, and I said, I want to talk. I can make a decision quicker than 2 hours. Tell me right now what you want to talk about. Well, he wanted to talk about establishing Malachi Dads, and we did, driving across the farm. It took about 4 minutes for me to say, I'm going to do it. This is a good program. We're going to start doing it. Now, I'm looking now at you all, even though it's through the camera, at the results of that meeting that night. It's a wonderful thing to see you all, and I wish I could be with you, because this is what happened a long time ago based on what God wanted done. Wasn't me, wasn't Linda. God inspired this, and you're part of his inspiration. So for that, you have to take it always really serious. And I want to talk a little bit about the history. More of this is that we now have some folk working full-time spreading Malachi Dads all over the country and all over the world. I was just in the Dominican Republic myself about, I guess, a month ago, talking to 24 prison wardens, all the wardens in Dominican, about Malachi Dads and about doing it there. Now, here's really what caused it to evolve. As we did the seminary, then what happened was the inmates, as they became saved, as you are, they began to worry about their children. And so we thought that day, when Lynn and I was driving, I said, man, this is just like Iraq or somewhere. You go off to war, and you're still a dad, and you still mentor your children. So why don't we enable the inmates themselves to mentor their children, because they love their kids? And as inmates became saved, just the very same thing with you. You didn't want your kids to come to prison too, and you know that your children are 7 times more apt to go to prison than other children. My kids want to be a fireman. My kids want to be a warden. My kids want to work in corrections, and the doctor's kids want to be doctors. And so we don't want, and you don't want your kids to come to prison. So this is the way to enable you to keep that from happening. And that's what this program is all about. But look, now that you're going to get out, it's really important, some basic things you do. And I was listening to Billy Graham the other day. You know, his funeral is just occurred, and I was honored to get to be there. But one thing he said on the radio last week, very important: it's work to read your Bible. It's an effort to spend time with God. It's much easier to watch TV or sit there and thumb through your cell phone, look at Facebook and all this kind of stuff. But it's work to do what you're supposed to do, to stay in the Word. You have to commit yourself to a time every day, and he recommended in the morning. Because when you get out now, no more counts, no more anything. It's how you conduct your life then. Just as you were concerned about your child while you're in prison, you have to be just as concerned, because he's going to see you, get to maybe live with you and be with you, and you'll have a direct input on his life. And you need to really be weary and worthy and think about that, because that's when the rubber meets the road. It's been easy now, but it's not fixing to be easy. You're going to have all kind of trials and tribulations. Things are going to disappoint you and so forth. But one thing, you're free. And two things, you have a child, or you wouldn't be in this program. And both things are precious, your freedom and the child. You keep your freedom by earning it, by not messing up and coming back. And you keep your child by loving it and giving it the time and energy that you learn to do in Malachi Dads. And so my message to you tonight is to persevere, is to pray, and have that special time to pray, and stay in your Bible. The Bible is the Word. Now here's what he said. 2 verses. Read 2 verses and reflect on it and think about the 2 verses. And that in itself is what Bible reading is. It's not just reading a bunch of words and go through it and say, okay, I read my Bible, close it up. That's not it. The Bible means, when you read your Bible, it means for you to read and study. And I recommend, I tell you what I have. I have a student Bible. And I have another Bible that I just gave Jack Crans, a few of them, and they're real good, and they're free just about. And so they're study Bibles, but they're easy to read, and it's something you can really use. There's one more kind of Bible that's real important to you from Malachi Dads. I also use a picture Bible. Now, we did that for the prison where I was because the education level was low, and a guy in a cell block could look at the pictures and the cartoons of Samson killing that lion and all that kind of stuff, and they enjoyed it and they would look at it, but they couldn't read it in the Bible. Your kids are the same way. If you make it like a comic book and get that Bible, and I wish Malachi Dads, I'm going to talk to them. They need to be making those available since we're talking about kids. If you had that kind of Bible too, then you can sit there with your child and it will come sit on your knee, sit by you, even if it's 10 years old and 11, and look at that Bible, and y'all can look at that big old line, and you can watch David, hit the Goliath in the head with that stone. And these things are how you relate to your children. So pray about it, think about it, don't forget what you've learned, and don't be lazy. A lazy Christian is a dead Christian. He's not going to heaven. So don't be a lazy Christian. You got to be a working Christian. You got to work hard for the Lord. You got to work hard to save your children, and you got to persevere. I wish you well. I wish I could be there with you. It's so good to get to talk to you this way. This is better than no way, but I prefer the other way. And maybe our paths will cross again, but never in jail. Okay, guys? Thank you all so very much. It's been my pleasure.